In this video, we're going to look at how to modify code that the scaffolding generated for us. In the previous video, we had Scaffold generate some code for us for our comments model. And what was generated, get to the right window here, was a comment controller and a number of RHTML files, which are view, for our comments. Another thing that was generated for us was the scaffolding CSS. And with this, we can control how the comments, all these views, how they look by going ahead and entering our own CSS into here and then setting those CSS values on the various HTML components in here. So I've taken the liberty of entering these CSS properties into the scaffold.css file. These will be available in the working files that accompany this video or on the CD are available for download. And specifically, I created CSS for comment itself, for the comment actions, which would be the things that you click on over here, for line 0 and 1, which is alternating color, so that the two lines will alternate in color. So now that I have CSS, I have to apply it. But if we look at our list, and you'll remember from the last video, is that this was actually somewhat generated for us because we had these nested loops in here. So what we're going to have to go in and do is actually remove this code that's in here and replace it with our own code. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all of that code all the way down to that end. I'm going to leave these links for the moment. So now we're going to go ahead and replace this with our own code. The first thing that we need to do is go ahead and set up for the odd even coloring. So we're going to do odd even equals 0. And then we have to set up our for loop and in comments. And add a little extra code in here for that even odd. Essentially what this does is flip-flops between the 1 and 0 so that we get even and odd. And then I got to close this up in my code here, so this corresponds to this end. So now I got a loop here. And now let's go ahead and add in our code for our rows. So we're going to do our first row. And if we look at our scaffolding back here, we had what code we needed to put in here. We needed a class, so we're going to have to put in class here. And then we're going to do a little bit of embedded Ruby magic to go ahead and enter that in here. And what that does is, if we look at that CSS again, we have line 0 and line 1. And when this gets generated, even and odd will switch the class of this row from line 0 to line 1, depending on what even underscore odd turn into. I got one too many. No, that's correct. So now we needed to do this here. Make sure all our okay, so that line actually reads tr and then class equal line, and then we embed Ruby inside that quotes there. So let's go ahead and we're going to add one row, and we're going to say put in a span, and class will equal comment, and then we'll go ahead and close out that span. And we've already closed out our TD. So now we need to put in our comment. And what we're going to do here is our Ruby code, embedded Ruby. So we'll make it a human readable, and we'll say comment.comment. Now I won't bore you with doing all the rest of these, but I've just updated that. So let's see what that turns into here. So now we have our two rows with some specific things applied to them and our two little actions here. We can go in and continue to modify this, which we'll do in the next video. We'll go ahead and modify our links to show up a little bit differently.